JJ often says Canada is a cow that is fed in the west and milked in the east.
It's bots. It has to be f***ing bots. There's no way. There's no way anyone genuinely believes that North Korea is a better country unless you're delusional.
I feel in my guts that it's like coming back, and it terrifies me.
Yeah.
That's the craziest map I've ever seen in my entire life.
What do you think?
Welcome back to Horseshoe Theory, the only Canadian podcast. Anna Fern is a black flag anarchist and video essayist who has come from Alberta to tell us about Wexit, making inroads with right-wingers on libertarian grounds, and being an anarchist, which as we all know means destroying everything. In this podcast, we talk about the wretched stink of American political rhetoric in Canadian politics, also known as Maple MAGA. We talk about being a radical in a deeply conservative province. But most importantly, we talk about freaking Hyperborea and the lost continent of Lemuria at the end. Sit on edge, be uncomfortable, and let the vril slowly seep out of you for this one.
Hi.
So you're a libertarian.
You're an anarcho-communist. You're a left libertarian anarcho-communist woke
Woman.
bread tuber woman. Can you give us a round of applause for having another woman on the podcast, please?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we did it! We did it again!
Another woke woman
On the podcast.
on the podcast. It never ends.
Well, let's see. Are you woke? How woke are you?
Well, we'll see. We'll see as we go.
By the way, you know we can't cut anything out, right? So everything you say, it's permanently etched onto the internet forever.
Yeah, I'll rely on internal filtration system.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
that's all you got.
What I found interesting about you, Anna Fern, is you were talking about, you're from Alberta, right? What's the political situation like in Alberta?
Not very good.
Not very good from a woke woman, liberal, leftist,
Perspective.
anarcho-communist perspective, that is.
Not good.
Well, I mean, it obviously depends which position you take, but in my opinion, it's not good because we're having, for American viewers, like Maple MAGA.
Maple MAGA, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I know about Alberta.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very America core.
It's we keep South and the North in Canada,
South and the North, right? Okay.
like the rednecks are all.
But
North.
Brogan is an America lover, loves Alberta.
I do love Alberta.
Well, I live there. I enjoy it.
I think they're beautiful people.
You were just talking on the Discord. You were saying how you're getting more Alberta pilled because Toronto takes too long to get around.
Yeah, I'm a leftist who believes in what did I say? Alberta supremacy.
Alberta supremacy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, there's that contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
Calgary was voted one of the best cities in the world. Quite recently.
By who?
I don't know. Yeah, the people that rank stuff.
The people that rig stuff.
Yeah, they rank stuff. The rankers, the rankmeisters.
Oh, the rankmeisters.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
so like a guy.
rankmeisters. Yeah, the rankmeisters. They go to them when they
Tier
get
list
stuff
guy.
ranked. Yeah, the tier list guy.
Anyway, Alberta.
Want me to add to that?
Okay.
Yeah, it is rated, like it's generally, Alberta is rated one of the highest in Canada by the quality of living. Calgary specifically, very, and that's like in part why I like it. It's
that's
very,
in your backyard. Just the beautiful mountains and lakes.
yeah, that's like maybe like from me personally, hour and a half drive.
Oh wow.
Maybe. Yeah,
Wait, so-
mountains, lakes, families, beer.
So, what is it about the cowboy coding you don't like? The cowboy coded America core Maple MAGA.
Well, I'm anti-authoritarian.
Okay.
Right? So that's like, we talked with Greg a little bit about it, but like primarily, I'm politically anti-authoritarian. And then I don't really mind like all this like, all like the cowboy stuff. I'm actually like I very much enjoy it. Like, it's the way I dress, the way I talk, the way I look at things. Like I really enjoy living there. But when we talk specifically about political situation there, not a big fan. Like the government, not a big fan.
What do you find authoritarian about Alberta?
Especially with like Daniel, like with Smith. So we had obviously Alberta is voting conservative like last 60 years, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe more at this point. So it is always conservative government there. However, party was overtaken during the COVID. So during the COVID, we switched from Alberta conservatism to Maple MAGA conservatism.
Yeah.
So that's
Are you
the
saying it's
problem.
become Americanized?
Yes, it became Americanized and it became it's right-wing identity politics.
Yeah. That's a
And
good
an
point.
import.
That's a good point because I don't think people realize how different Canadian conservatism is from American conservatism. And I talked with JJ a lot about this. I think some weird, folly of the Trump era is that everything has become like mega coded, like all conservatism. So yeah, same thing with people make that argument against Polyev, which I disagree with, but I can see like he's adopted some of the Trump rhetoric.
He did adopt that too.
Yeah, I've seen there's a new commercial going around where he's like, it's a campaign ad, and he's like, everything's woke. It's him walking with his wife, and he's like, big triceps, and they have a Canadian flag.
Does he send you guys like postal flyers?
No,
like we get conservative, like as I live in Alberta, so we get Conservative Party post flyer, which basically collects the opinion about the Conservative Party. So that became like those I collect them too, but this postal notes become progressively more MAGA coded.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I'm on the email list. I've noticed like in the last year, they started using woke. They started saying woke in the emails and like the woke left. And they started talking about like he had an email about the like, WEF. It's very frustrating. It's frustrating because like I don't want that insanity.
Global elites.
And yeah, I don't want that in my fucking politics. We're fucking Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like my bigger problem with like Alberta conservatism in general, because they took that turn too.
Yeah.
Because if we talk just about like conservative, like I'm not a big fan of any government, but if we talk about like general conservative, like typical stuff that is just like government that does nothing, basically, I'm not a big fan of them like giving money to like oil corporations and stuff, obviously. But like in general, if they just like exist and they do nothing, it's the same for me as like any other government. But then when we start to talk about Maple MAGA and actual this like coded language, very this like identitarian politics, which attack like generally it's attack against minorities. Like when I talk about Alberta, like it's not like there are like bigger cities, but there are smaller ones. So when people talk about immigration being the issue, like in Alberta, the biggest problem with immigration is internal immigration. It's not like like it's not like based on race. It's not external people. It's actually like Canadians who are moving from more expensive areas to less expensive.
My brother
areas.
just moved to Alberta.
Yeah,
I've thought about it.
And lower cost of living, and he was sick of the woke mob.
Was he?
Yeah, he moved there for political reasons.
Oh, actually,
interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. But how does he feel there?
he likes it.
Is he like right or
He's
like
right.
center?
Yeah, he's right wing now.
I didn't know this about your brother.
He got really right wing over the last few years.
Don't say his name, but what order is he in the brothers age wise, chronological order? Oldest brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
How old?
35.
Does he want like a family, kids too?
He does, but there's some right wing hangups about that, considering all women are.
All women are woke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that a problem? But
it's interesting coming from Alberta because like Alberta has the lowest taxes in Canada, but higher than any state in the U.S. Like taxes here are so high, and there's also there's like the secession movement in Alberta now as well. Wexit. That's so bizarre.
well, it is bizarre. Like it starts like from like this like it's really wacky, but then the underpinning of it is like the people who are like deeper into Wexit, they also more they're like this is like the thing, like right, they don't just like it's not just Wexit for them. It's like, can we become an American state type of thing?
Yeah. I understand because Alberta basically funds the rest of the country. Like Quebec, I mean, where I'm from Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia, PEI, New Brunswick, and Newfoundland all get money from Alberta to stay afloat. Without that money, we'd be like a fucking wasteland.
It'd
be like Fallout New Vegas over there. So,
JJ often says the Canada is a cow that is fed in the west and milked in the east.
Yeah,
Think
yes.
about that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I very agree with that.
I'm a Wexiteer.
You're a Wexiteer?
I've thought about this for about 30 seconds now, and I'm pretty sure I'm pro-Wexit. I'm also, I've always been pro-Wexit. I'm also pro-Quebec separatist. Yeah.
So Quebec separatist, Wexit, like, which provinces you want there? There is some disagreement on like
whatever Wexit entails can go, and Quebec can go.
I want to dissect. I want to like really, I think rip apart this Maple MAGA concept.
Okay.
Because this is really novel.
Yeah.
I've never heard a name put towards it, but like
yeah, Maple MAGA is an interesting name.
it is a very interesting name because it literally is the
And it gets at this whole like we're importing American politics into Canada idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
which we are. I mean, you could argue that even like European countries seem to have taken on like a mega Trumpist rhetoric as well.
Yes.
Although they have a bit more. It's different because like they actually have a culture. You know, like the Poles. The Poles have like there is Polish culture. Like there is Polish people that are from Poland.
Yeah, but
So the anti-immigration stuff makes more sense on on logic. It makes less sense here for me because like there is no like Canadian or American. There's no like 1,000-year-old American culture or Canadian culture. You know, we're not like a country of a type of people.
But you have like I mean like I kind of like disagree with that. Like I mean like agree and disagree.
No,
because,
we have culture. Like I'm not
that's why I mean like there is like things.
I'm
and,
not
like
like flagellating here. I'm just saying like it's not like the UK where the culture is like 4,000 years old.
Well, it depends like if you include like indigenous populations or
No,
not.
no,
But
never-
in
I
general,
never-
like if you just want like Western based, but still each province is a little different in a way.
Yeah, it's different, but we don't. I'm just saying we don't have like a racial like ethnicity culture. We don't have like a like Irish people. Like Ireland is Irish people are from Ireland.
Like nationalism, like Canadian nationalism type of thing.
We have nationalism, but it's not like
It's weird.
people who are anti like European countries that are anti-immigration because it's like, oh, Poland is for Polish people. That makes logical sense because it's like the people that have been there for thousands of years. Whereas saying like Canada is for Canadians, it's like what defines being a Canadian because it's like we are a country of immigrants, right? That's all I'm saying. There's Canadian culture. I believe strongly in like I think Canadian American culture is the best in the world, but it's not old.
So like what I mean like you're touching on an interesting point there because that's just like there is like currently there is two different types of like nationalist / fascist movements and they're different. So American / Canadian is different from European.
Like it's like civic nationalism versus like ethnic nationalism.
Yeah, it's like American is called pan-European.
Mm-hmm.
So technically that like what that means, what that entails is that pretty much like all of the white people are one nation. This is like understanding because like there's no uniting culture again.
Yeah,
because if you go to Europe, their hard right movements would generally be linked to their history. So right, like they would be just like, especially like France, Germany, where we see like rise of the hard right parties and like fascist parties into power. A lot of the rhetoric that they use is a preservation of that culture.
Yeah.
So they say, hey, like you know, people lived there for 300 years, and we're trying to preserve that and protect it from immigration. Versus if you're in America or in Canada, arguments like that don't work. Like people move across provinces. Everybody is like kind of like people are not really related. Like you come from a different place, I come from a different place. Greg?
I come from everywhere.
From everywhere?
Yeah.
I'm 1% of
Sure.
all races.
1% of all races? How many races there are on your math?
50.
Where's the other 50%?
Star Child.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, but like the in relation like to pan-European fascism is what you get in America, and what that's kind of like it exists in Alberta too. It exists in Canada.
Yeah.
Those hard right movements, which are just trying to unite people, pretty much based on like skin color.
Yeah,
Or-
like
or understanding of-
the Anglosphere. I've heard that term thrown around on the internet a bit.
Yeah, Anglosphere, Judeo-Christian
That's
values.
just trying to reunite
From there
people based
too?
off of language, Anglo, or religion, Judeo-Christian.
No, the Anglosphere is like that's the argument against
West.
The West.
you know, like a European. People who are like, oh, it's you know, Canada is built on like European values, and like the argument against their way to like kind of dissect that because it's like, oh, someone from Istanbul is European. Like if you're from the north end of Istanbul, the north side of the city, right on the European continent, like you're. So how do you parse out like, okay, so if you're Turkish, you're European, but if you're like if you're Icelandic, you're European. So it's like Anglosphere is like, no, they don't count. It's like Ireland, UK, northern France, northern Germany. Like that's the Anglosphere. Everything outside of that is like scum. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the basic idea. But then you try it because like all these people are now on a different continent with different backgrounds, and then you just try to give people pan-European identity to think of themselves as like European origin, and thus they need to unite and, you know,
See,
build their own state and and stop, close the borders.
I know that's been driving me crazy as well though, because it's like, how
good
recently, if you go to like the 1930s, like Italians weren't seen as white people.
I mean, like, I'm like Slavic.
Yeah.
Like Slavs were not treated as like white people.
No, it's funny. It's funny to just like race.
It's expandable concept. So like what happens there is like definition of what means to be white constantly has to expand.
Yeah.
Because like it has to expand because it gives people more power. Because like to the point where now you'll see like, for example, like a lot of Asian cultures get it included into white because opposition would be mostly to like Indian and like black, right? So pretty much like definition starts to expand, so it includes more people.
I was talking to my friend about this, and I think we decided that there's only 500 million non-white people. Everyone's white, basically.
Wow, that's like the inverse of the Nation of Islam. Everyone's black.
Yeah, no, everyone's white. There's like the southern half of India is black, and like sub-Saharan Africa is black. Everywhere else in the world's white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's why that's kind of like it goes. Like the definition changes. So like it depends on history, right? And what the movements, like authoritarian movements, will need is like the power. So how many people you need to have the power. So definitions will shift and expand based on that.
A friend of mine worked for a company where they were supposed to have a BIPOC quota that they hired, but the BIPOC quota didn't include Asians. So the Asians lobbied to be included in BIPOC, and they hired like 60% Asians.
The Asians lobbied to be included in BIPOC?
But it's funny that they had to like, they had to lobby for it.
Yeah, well,
that's what I mean. Like that they are by default now included into white.
Yeah. So we're all white here.
Henry?
I know. I think race is one of those things that just gets confusing. I for anyone to build a consistent and coherent ideology off of race is just going to fail eventually.
Well,
I'm straight up a fascist. I'm a Wexit fascist. These are my two identities I've adopted now.
Wexit fascist?
Yeah, I think you know it when you see it.
Post-race.
You know, just regular race. You know it when you see it. You can look, you can generally tell whose race is what.
Yeah, post-race fascism. Like
post-racial fascism. Yeah, but
what's your name?
No. For the purposes of this podcast, I'm just a regular racist fascist.
I see 5 white people there.
What about that guy in the back?
He's like in Florida. He's like outside a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like he's on the beach a lot.
All right. So if you have that skin tone or darker, remember Brogan thinks that you're white.
Like there's it's interesting how like so many women on this pod. It's like, again, you have me here and you're talking about like fascism. How many women here? And it's just always somehow.
It's just what we default to. If we get women on the podcast.
I didn't steer this conversation towards fascism.
Well, that's true. But I'm also like in a way like I'm a good person.
We're being anti-fascist though.
I am being straight up fascist.
Greg's a fascist. This is what we thought. This is the real horseshoe theory is that we decide it every time we start the episode, ad hoc, based on we infer it from each other.
Yeah.
So I'm the anti-fascist, you're the fascist.
We just intuited this, basically.
Yeah.
You are a good person to talk to about right-wing things because you've been studying right-wing things, correct?
Yeah. Yes. So I know quite a bit about racism and like
specifically the far right
stuff.
So you gave a presentation at our studio last night, and you had all these extremist memes, and some of them were from the far right, neo-Nazis, Nazbol, stuff like that. So you have experience with the far right. Okay. How'd you get an interest in that?
So I had like an interest in that. Well, pretty much like since like this is like the earliest stuff I started doing politically in my life was like anti-authoritarian in a way. So I did like I worked a little bit about like an anti post-USSR analysis and stuff like that. And then from there I went to Second World War. I read a lot of literature of Second World War and about like genocide, and I got really interested in the topic of like what causes people to become that way. Like why exactly would people, because like especially like if we talk about like far right fascism, it's very self-destructive ideology, right? So like fascist story is like generally kill all the whatever people and then kill yourself.
I could do it better.
You can do it better? Then it's not a true fascism.
I could do it without being self-destructive. I could destroy the other guys.
Yeah, and it's like it's progressively like it consumes people. Like that's the thing that happens. Like so it just like progresses. Like if people adopt this ideology like for real, they deeply adopt it, they progress further and further in. That's like a part of like Second World War. What happens to Hitler?
Yeah,
he consumes everything
that's
and then
one
himself.
example.
Yeah, it's just one
can try
example,
again.
but like
We are trying again. We're going to try again.
we are trying again. I agree
you
with
see those
that.
climate migrants?
Unfortunately,
See what's going to go on with these climate migrants?
What the fuck is that? You looked up Hitler and it just comes up
Terribly
with
AI generated.
Fuck
Yeah,
you.
It's
Google's
AI
so
Hitler.
messed up.
Oh, get real. Go fuck yourself.
What I'm interested in.
God,
he's in a
AI
fucking
Hitler.
muffin.
Like real one was not enough.
Okay, so in Alberta,
Yeah, right.
you were saying that the political disposition is very liberty coded, right? The right wingers are very right libertarian, and the left wingers are like left libertarian.
Well,
yeah?
there's like several shades because all of it is conservative,
Mhm.
and there are like different ways for people to be conservative. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think like most mainstream position is just like general fiscal conservative,
Mhm.
like center right position. You know,
Okay.
culturally like Canadian typical, culturally left.
Okay, I'm mapping out an
economically right.
Alberta political sphere here. So most people are center right.
Yeah, most people are center right. So they
Okay.
just like
fiscal conservative.
like they just want like business,
Right.
money.
Vote for the Conservative Party
Yeah.
every year.
because they're like good for business. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's my problem with Alberta. Like color, like you can color like a cow blue.
Mhm.
People will vote for it.
Okay.
So
Fuck yeah.
Okay, but go on. What groups in
Yeah.
Alberta have
and
you been
then,
a part of, or have you observed, which are
Yeah.
interesting ideologically?
So like ideologically for me, like it's interesting because it's very libertarian leaning province. So like you do have a strong undercurrent of libertarianism, and that's like part of Wexit too.
Mhm.
So like part of the idea of Wexit is that Alberta needs to be independent or part of US, because in
Mhm.
US states are more independent than provinces in Alberta, in Canada, because like what happens exactly with Canada is that like it gets milked in the east. So
Yeah.
like money gets extracted from the province
Right.
I like obviously like it's not just the government, it's also like corporate, but like if you forget about corporations
Mhm.
and just blame Trudeau for everything, that's what happens. That like people think that basically Ontario is just like taking money out of province.
Okay. So, many different ways I could go with that. But one question is basically like, if you agree that it's milked, if the value is produced here and is milked in the eastern provinces, why not Wexit?
Just Wexit, like just literally have like an island inside Canada.
I think if it got ate up by America, like just get annexed by America, become a part of America. They're more American than most Canadians.
Yeah, but they are less American than Americans.
They could figure it out.
The cowboy stuff is interesting. Like in like Edmonton, where it's like I don't know why all like, Alberta is cowboy coded.
Yeah, I have a cowboy belt on me.
You like the cowboy aesthetic.
I like
You
it.
embrace
I like
I
that
don't
stuff.
understand why. Like southern
of
Alberta, like
plains?
south of Calgary, yeah, that makes sense. But like,
All of it is like Saskatchewan is
Henry,
like that
pull up
too.
What If Alt Hist, the future of Canada. Let's just look at the thumbnail, because he has theories about the annexation of Canada.
I'll get annexed. Our good friend,
I would get annexed.
Rudyard Lynch.
And this is why I'm pro Wexit. It's because I'm pro getting annexed by America so that I don't have to get molested at the border every time I travel. It's purely selfish. But
What do you have? Like, what happens to you at the border?
they molest me. I've been molested at the border several times due to my race. The 1% of it that they're racist towards. Pull it up. That's not the right one. Pull up. Okay, zoom in. Yeah. Wait. Okay, so
Yes,
look, what's happening
yes,
here?
yes.
Explain this schizophrenic chart to me.
Okay, so here we have like basically what you have is so you have Quebec. Who cares about Quebec?
I care about Quebec.
But they're independent now. They get their independence.
Yeah.
You have Ontario because like we don't want to be part of Ontario.
No, we're the centrists that want to hold on to Canadian identity.
Yeah, they can have Trudeau.
Yeah.
Then you have BC, liberal leaning province, like they can do their social democracy or whatever.
Okay, so they just like become an NDP province?
Yeah, they're just NDP or
Like
Greens.
an NDP country.
NDP country, yeah.
NDP country. Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, and then you
Run
just like kind of like join other provinces to America.
That's what I want. I want to take a train from Halifax to New York without a passport.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I'd be super excited
JJ
about that.
Right
Halifax to New York.
Halifax to New York train.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah,
JJ
no
reaching
passport.
full completion with
Well,
this
any
one.
train would be nice in this country.
Full completion.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
This is what JJ wants. This is the future JJ wants.
Yeah, and then you have like
Dave the Rape.
connection
No,
to
he doesn't want his
Alaska too.
NDP province. He doesn't want that.
I mean, he'd really want like all of Canada just being but
Yeah, that's like JJ position.
maybe except Quebec.
He thinks we already are.
Do you want to shadowbox JJ?
Already?
I mean, you can.
How many minutes are we in?
I mean,
25.
Okay, maybe it's a good time.
Shadowbox
But
Jay,
do you want to wait, Henry? Can you
I don't
pull
know,
that
think
map
about
back?
it.
I want to talk about something else. We talked about it with you about that. Like this thing. What is this?
what? That's
This diagonal position.
Diagolon.
Yes.
Okay, wait. We should talk about Diagolon. Pull up Diagolon.
What the fuck is Diagolon?
Let's
Really, you don't
inform
know.
Brogan about Diagolon. Diagolon is a post. It's got like a level of irony to it, but it's not a very thick layer.
It's like covered by irony because they're covering up the like far right position.
So
with irony.
yeah, Google Diagolon, go to images, pull up a map of Canada, map.
Yeah, say Diagolon Canada map.
Yeah,
Yes.
so these are states and provinces that were anti-COVID lockdown.
Yeah, so it's anti-COVID lockdown, but also like pretty much red states and blue provinces. I don't know why they include BC. Like I think like that's part of like Albertans. They're confusing like BC for being like, well, northern BC is more conservative.
That's the craziest map I've ever seen in my entire life.
What do you think?
Wow.
Train from like Austin to what is the capital of Alaska? I don't know.
Anchorage.
Yeah.
Austin to Anchorage bullet train.
Mhm.
The red belt.
Yeah, the
Yes.
red belt of North America.
This is
Wow.
a kind of 4D chess national divorce where it includes parts of Canada
Mhm.
because it basically all of these states and provinces are based, and the ones that aren't based don't get to be in Diagolon. And so, like, the idea is like, well, this is a ridiculous idea. Who would want to actually advocate for a diagonal line across the continent? But
It's a good position actually because like you have like exit on the both sides of the continent.
you can have ports on both ends.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like Nova Scotia COVID lockdowns.
Mhm.
They were like, hey guys, hey buddy, so basically we're gonna have to shoot you, and we all went, oh that's all right. I'm just getting in the way. That's fine. Don't worry about me. Yeah, just go ahead and pop me off in the fucking head.
Okay.
That's how we did it.
As an anti-authoritarian,
Mhm.
what was your thoughts on COVID lockdowns?
They were not good.
Not good. Woke leftist says COVID lockdown not good.
You'll
Clip
know-
it. Put it online. Put it on a short.
You'll notice on this episode there's a little blurb below the video player that says something about COVID-19 and links a Wikipedia article. So just
They're right.
It's right there.
That's correct.
It's
You
going
should
to be-
read it and inform yourself.
Yeah.
The
Wikipedia.
government should not have a word in like medical procedures that you do to yourself.
Very, very Foucault.
Well,
Foucaulted?
I mean, like in
Who's
that
that guy that did
area,
biopolitics?
it's in that area too.
Okay.
But it's basically like it's like far anti-authoritarian position. Like government doesn't have to say any say in what you're doing with your body.
Interesting. So in Alberta, you were telling me that there was like normally in our eastoid provinces, we just have like these signs saying wear your mask, keep 6 feet
Shut
distance,
the fuck up.
shut up.
Drink your fucking goy
But in
swab.
Alberta, it's like if you want your establishment to have no masks, you just put a sign on saying, "Hey, we don't wear masks here. You can come on in."
Yeah.
Just just be
So
aware
that
of
was
that.
just like posted and said like, hey, like as like a business, we made a choice. We're allowed to do that under
Mhm.
regulations.
I
So
agree with that. It's private property.
well, yeah, in a way, like right, it's like private property, but well, there was like good side to it and like bad side to it. So the bad side to it being that people who usually put those signs up, they would be like pretty brainwashed.
Mm-hmm.
So I do still like saying that like like it's an infection, like like you should get a COVID shot. I just don't think that government should tell you to do that
Right,
or
and you
force you
should-
to do
and you
that, or
should-
especially that people should like lose jobs.
And you should choose to take the shot. You shouldn't be pressured into
Yes.
it. Right.
Yeah, I believe in like that. Like people can make a rational decision if or if they don't make a rational decision, it's still their decision over their body.
The edgiest take we've had on this podcast in 3 episodes.
I mean, like it
From
depends.
a woke liberal anarcho-communist.
Well, yeah, like you can,
Anarcho-communist.
it's close enough.
What do you
Anarcho-communist.
identify as ideologically? Just anti-authoritarian, left libertarian, or
I
does
just
anarchism
say
appeal
like
to you?
I just like say like black flag anarchist or like anarchist.
Black flag anarchist.
Well, it's just like mean like it or like synthetic anarchism is like it's all similar terms. They basically mean that I don't really differentiate.
Fuck with the state.
and where?
Yeah, fuck Trudeau, but in a different way for a different reason. Okay.
Yeah. No one's prepared for that one. No one's prepared. I remember like I used to be a very big libertarian in my younger days, and I would get in anti-cop arguments with leftists, and I'd be like, "No, we hate cops for different reasons."
Yeah, that's kind of like, that's what happens with me and Alberta.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm like, don't tread on me. And then they were like, ACAB. I'm like, no, we're different. For some reason, I was like...
you were like ANCAP?
Yeah, I was ANCAP.
I was like ANCAP for like a year maybe, but then I grew up with it really quick. Because that was like...
You grew it pretty quick.
Yeah, like as soon as you start like reading about it, it's just like, no.
Interesting. So you're a Slavic Slav from Slavland.
Yeah, from Slavland.
And did that influence your anti-authoritarianism?
Yes.
Do you think you're like racially communist? Like it's like within you?
Well, like so.
What kind of question is that? You just went off about the. Leave that to the at least to the race realist over here.
It's like every 20 minutes we're just gonna loop back into like racial science.
Yeah, we have 3 like autistic fixations we keep following: black pill, race science, some third thing.
Yeah, but so yeah, like I had like a very strong position, and like the origin of like me going into anti-authoritarianism is anti-USSR.
Yeah.
Right. So like a lot of like I was reading and I was really interested in political repressions, and that kind of like that was the origin of it. Right. So like I know like it's generally like not what do you call it? Well, once you grow up in Russia, there is like only several ways that you can go about it, right? Because it's like a really dark history. So people can either do revisionism and become a tanky and just say that, oh, that didn't exist, or like it wasn't that bad, or you just become anti-authoritarian and you just say, well, no government, no state, no capitalism.
Which way, Eastern Slav? You can pick the anti-authoritarianism or the tanky route.
Yeah.
How many? I've been getting a hate boner for the tankies recently.
You've been arguing with tankies online.
I've been arguing a lot of tankies online. I really fucking don't like tankies that much. Do you notice that a lot of Russians end up tanky, or like?
Yeah, it's a common position.
It's a common position.
Well, I mean, like it's like a history revisionism, right? In a way, it's like it happens in many other places, like Japan, Germany. Like German Right Party has the same thing. Basically, inability to accept or reflect on the past history, and then one of the solutions to inability to reflect on it is to just, pretend it never happened.
What are you looking at? Oh.
Yeah, I don't think that one is charging.
Fascinating. Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd have to. I think the nationalists are very short-sighted. As someone who is like pretty nationalist towards like I like the West a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that the mental gymnastics it takes to like fully embrace where you're from and like love it. And I guess you could just apply the same logic to like Russians or
like because like you apply the same logic, like exactly that's the same exact mechanism.
Yeah,
right?
You'd have to like tell yourself some stories to be like, oh, here's why like this is all good. Or a lot of the tankies who love North Korea.
Oh god,
I've been arguing with fucking these people are ridiculous. I actually have to like I think I'm gonna have to get rid of like a lot of them off my Twitter because it just kind of upsets me too much. Haas Infrared.
Okay, this is what is that?
American Communist Party.
Yes, yeah. Like I'm like it's a new communism. Yeah, new American communism.
They're like he's
MAGA communism, right?
Yeah, MAGA communism.
He's anti-humanism. Like he's like he like praises Islamic countries because he says like seeing your fellow man as equal gets in the way of like political goals. So you shouldn't see your fellow man as equal. And he was talking about like why like North Korea is a perfect place because it kills its own citizens for the sake of political goals. And I'm like, that's fucking like I cannot have that opinion in my head.
They are, however, ratioing Fuentes on Twitter, which is I never thought I'd live to see it. But yeah, it's like I see Fuentes posts when he's like going anti-communist, and then like there's like an anti-communist reply with like more likes than it.
It's bots. It has to be fucking bots. There's no way. There's no way anyone genuinely believes that North Korea is a better country unless you're fucking delusional.
Well, they are like, I mean, yeah, that's part of it. Like becoming delusional is the part of it. And that's like what I find this topic like so interesting because people like not only they just like construct their own reality based on like what they like want to think, pretty much. You just want to think something and you think it. And that's your reality. So build a delusional world where North Korea is a better place to live. and just run with it.
There's the Sam Harris Destiny podcast. I found really interesting. I was listening to that yesterday, and they were talking about, like, I've always thought this for a while, is that we have such an abundance of information that we have access to, that the way you used to build your worldview, if you were like an educated, like well-read person, is you sort of just like read the canon and then use that as like your lens to like filter the world around you, and you would come into like a moderate worldview, right? Mm-hmm. But now that people have the ability to piece together any narrative, like they don't need context, right? Like someone can build the narrative and back it up every argument that North Korea is a better country in every way than the United States.
Yeah.
And they can get every piece of information required to build that argument without, and take that information out of context. Like they're not learning about the history of, and they're not learning about the window around it. They're just learning about like, okay, here's my beat by beat on why this is a better country without any context. And you can make that, you can believe it yourself, and to someone who like doesn't have the skill set to debate it or argue with you, you can fucking wipe the floor with them in a debate.
Yeah, like that's like part of it. And then like once people like compile that information, it also like algorithms play a role as well.
Yeah.
So if people get like, if they think that way already, the social media will like proliferate their it's like kind of like echo chamber, but also like just in general, like it also just to like give it a little bit of a, a little bit of a twist. So it's not just the echo chambers themselves. It's also like a conscious choice. So like being like, I'm a leftist who looks like at a lot of right-wing stuff.
Yeah.
But I generally don't I don't accept that information. So like it requires a conscious choice.
Yeah.
To like go that way anyway, really ideologically.
Well, it also requires, I mean, we make this joke frequently on the podcast, but it's like if you're reviewing a movie and you've only ever seen one movie before it, and you're like, oh, this movie, it's like the guy who's has only ever seen Minions watches The Godfather. He's like, oh, this is a lot like Minions. It's like you've consumed no information, nothing, like no canonical information or history, except for like weird fringe literature on like your beliefs, and then you see like a war, like I don't know, like Israel Palestine, or you see like Trump, and you're like, oh, this has big like North Korea socialist takeover vibes. You know what I mean? Because it's like you have no lens to view the thing through. You have no like base of information.
What do you think of the first image that pops up when you Google Minions?
AI Minion. We had an AI Hitler.
Minion. They didn't even get the one AI eye thing right.
I know.
He's got two eyes.
Why is he in a suit?
What
do you think? I encountered this conspiracy theory the other night at the bar in a debate about Trump. A drunk debate at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
With a guy on coke.
That's what you were doing yesterday?
No, this was 2 nights ago.
Okay.
Anyway, I was talking about like why I don't like Trump and just like blah 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 blah. He was like a big Trump guy, and then I kind of like got to a point where he said, "Well, Trump's actually been running the country this entire time, and Biden is Trump's puppet to show the world how bad things will get when they don't elect Trump." And I was like, "Well,
that's a twist."
Oh, wow. And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "That's an actual conspiracy. That's not like a schizophrenic, free association. That's an actual conspiracy theory that like people believe."
But conspiracy is also like, I'm also interested in that because there is a large overlap between right-wing policies and conspiracies.
Yeah.
But how conspiracies work, so they are not like, we often like discuss them as like fixed entities, like, like flat earth or whatever. But they are not fixed. They're actually like spectrums of belief. So each person, like usually if you talk to people who believe those things, like if you put two of them together, they will like have very strong disagreements about some things. So they all build their own little conspiratorial, because like basically how it works, they just connect ideas, right? They connect them without having any factual background. They just like go on vibes, on like intuition, feelings, or like they like some particular conspiracy theories and they link them together. So like that's like probably what happens like in the guy's head. Like he had like he has like a bunch of conspiracies that are all merging into one, creating his own unique like way of looking at it.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to because I find a lot of conspiracy theorists are like smart people. I don't think it's weird because it's not like a low intelligence thing. Most of them
it's
are
not
like,
related to intelligence.
No, most of them are very like smarter than the average person. I think it's just that like that overload of information that allows you to make all those connections that like would have been impossible to make earlier. Like you can look up like the fact that you can look up and read probably like hundreds of thousands of pages of literature on the internet, whether it's forum posts or blog posts or like Medium articles about how Trump is actually a military dictator and has been for the last 4 years. You could spend like the rest of the year 8 hours a day studying that concept, there's enough information, and like build a narrative that's so coherent that nobody, even like how wrong you are, no one has like the rhetoric or like debate skills or the information to like fully dismantle what you're saying.
Well, you can't like in part you also can't debate those people. Like you can't change their opinion.
No, exactly.
Based on like just like they are resistant to like factual knowledge, like information sources, like nothing. It's just pure like it's like it's a belief system. It
is a belief system. It's I mean, it's exactly like religion. It's like a Muslim and a Hindu and a Christian arguing about like which God is real. Like you're like, and they're citing their own religious texts. Right, like they live in different realities. Yeah,
that's exactly like they're living in like it's people living in different realities, and it's not really related to intelligence because it's like outside of intelligence realm. It's not like math, like it's not 2 + 2. It's like it's a belief.
Yeah, it's a belief.
Like you made your mind that 2 + 2 = 5, and that's it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. The end. So you can't.
Yeah.
All right, listen. This is horseshoe theory. Okay. Yeah. We're trying to make inroads. We can't be shitting on right wingers. Okay. So you have in Alberta a lot of these right libertarians, but you can make inroads with them based off of certain.
Yes. So I'm like a big proponent of working with people that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm big into activism, community activism, working on the ground. So I'm a true believer that it doesn't really matter who you work with, and like. Like if as far as you have like set goals and you're trying to achieve your set goals, it matters very little who the people are.
Mm-hmm.
And you can change the people around you too. Even, for example, like if you start working with somebody, they might be like of a different political position where they will end up in 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm. So what are some examples of you doing this?
Well, like I do like a bunch of different things, but like if you want to talk about like community gardening, that's a good position.
Sure.
So like I'm very big into community gardening. That's like my background to it is like food security.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like a pretty leftist position. So I believe that people should be able to grow their own food. I hate lawns.
Fuck lawns.
Fuck lawns. Yes. So I believe like people should have ability and knowledge to grow food if they so desire. This is a leftist position. However, I don't live in a leftist paradise. I live in Alberta, which is the opposite of leftist paradise.
Yeah.
In many ways. But I work with people that I have, and it works perfectly fine. And I'm like just as happy because I'm actually achieving things. Like when I started in my town, we had 1 garden. So this year we had already 2, and then there is another one getting built.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have like educational programs that we run. We have front lawn program that we run, beekeeping, chicken coop back.
Sure.
So yeah,
and a lot of right wingers into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so like that's the thing. Like if I don't, like I'm pretty sure like people who I work with like are not leftists.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are like older ladies too.
Yeah.
So they might just not be very political at all, or they like political in interesting ways, So, and a lot of people that are actual like gardeners also do that. Like for them, it's like a right wing position of like, also independence.
Interesting. So agrarianism is the real horseshoe theory. We found
agrarianism, yeah.
Agrarianism.
What do you think of this? The new divide is accelerationist versus primitivist.
But on gardening, there is like like just in general, like a divide
that's
between
the biggest
like
political divide right now. Is that it's not left or right, and it's not libertarian versus authoritarian. It's futurist versus primitivist.
Well, it's like they are all valid ways to look at it.
Yeah,
I think it's aesthetically based versus aesthetically cringe.
How many axes you think should be on political compass?
6.
6?
What are your 6?
Economic left versus economic right, cultural left versus cultural right, authoritarian versus libertarian, technology versus primitivism, pro-status quo versus anti-status quo, like radical versus reformist, and
P versus
what?
P versus poo.
P versus poo. Yeah, P versus poo. That's the 6th one.
That's the 6th one.
You were going to say autism versus schizophrenia?
No, I was just going to say, P versus poo.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Versus poo. Good, great. You should make your own. Put it online.
There they are.
There they are.
We did it.
P versus poo. Rap battle. All right, I'm poo.
Oh, yeah, because you have when is that happening?
Well, the political compass for rap 2. You
gotta make the P versus poo.
If it gets under 50K
rap.
views, then with Rowan, I'm going to make the P versus poo I wrap up.
It's a
I
fucking.
can't wait for that. That
you
will
were,
be great.
You were also anti-C11, which a lot of right-wingers were anti as well. So you could make
Yes.
inroads there.
Yes. Yeah. So I made the roads with anti-C11, anti-C21, which is gun recall. So yeah.
Pro-gun, black flag anarchist.
Yeah. Pro-gun left. What I said. You go far enough?
You get the guns back.
Yeah. You get the guns back. Yeah. Which is, I mean, I don't know how much we can talk about that without YouTube.
We can talk about it.
YouTube,
We're fine. We're
undoing this pod.
no, we're safe. We're all monetized all the time. We're good. We're good. And we have
For now.
we have
We're
a
good for
partner as
now.
well. That YouTube likes us actually. So
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a
Yeah.
partner? Do we really though?
we do have a partner.
Have we ever like got
Invite-
anything?
invite them on a pod.
I have an email of a person. I have a YouTube. There's a YouTube partner.
Yeah.
We have a YouTube
Take them here
rep.
on a pod.
I'll do it. Pro gun. Wait, so you go far enough left, it becomes pro gun again from from an anarchist perspective.
Mhm.
Okay, like an
From the
just
right
pure anti-authoritarian.
Yes.
Okay.
Like citizens' right for self-defense,
hmm
pretty much.
Wait, so do you find yourself more of a Luddite, or do you find yourself like you want to lean it? You want emancipation through technology?
Like from the technological position?
Yeah.
I'm like
Are you a D cell or a E cell?
no cell. I'm like really opposed to
No
like
AC.
I'm an incel.
no ac. I'm very opposed to acceleration.
So you're a D cell. Deceleration.
No, but I don't think we should like move back. Like my problem with accelerationism is that accelerate into what? Because right now you're accelerating into fascism.
We're accelerating into UBI. UBI,
Really?
where we all make art and dance in the streets. There's a street festival every day.
I think like that's the difference. That's because you live in Toronto, so you feel like you're accelerating into UBI,
I
and I
wanna-
live in Alberta, and I feel like we're accelerating into fascism.
No, I want to walk through Little Italy, and I want to hear like Bella Ciao. Like every morning, I'm just like getting my coffee and like dancing down the
That
street.
would be really nice.
Yeah, and we all have like $2,000 a month.
Would be nice. Okay, you're wearing a shirt that says Nick Land is the enemy. Stop sending him anime recommendations. So this is a good tangent from the accelerationism thing.
Yes, so that's why I got this shirt, because I was like on the internal war against accelerationism,
Mhm.
and then I saw this T-shirt, and I was like, that's the T-shirt I need to buy, and then I can't wear it anywhere because nobody gets the reference.
Mhm. What
So I
do you want
took it here.
to explain what that means for the audience that might not be familiar with people sending Serial Experiments Lane as a recommendation to Nick Land?
Yeah, just like, well, I don't know which direction you want to go with it, like specifically. But like, can you like, do you want to like,
Why is Nick Land the enemy?
why is Nick Land the enemy? Well,
Because we're the CCCRU here. So
yeah, I would like you to get him here. I don't think the work that he does is like in a way I think he's like, well, he's anti-humanist, right? Like he's not humanist.
Yeah, he's anti-humanist,
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
like he denies humanism, which I do not. Like I'm very much a humanist.
Like,
So that's
like
my-
misanthropic.
it's a philosophical strain of thought that doesn't reject all the notions of humanism, which is to say that humans are like free agents with free will, and we're actually more of just a process that's building something.
Yeah.
Like any ant farm, you can model us.
But also like you don't see like any value in human life. Pretty
Like,
much,
there's no
You just-
intrinsic
you're
value
neutral.
either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like because humanism isn't like in the core of it is a belief that humans have particular intrinsic value to them.
This is Nick Land when I hold a gun to his head. No, no.
Which we will not do when he comes on the podcast when we fly him out.
I'd love to talk to Nick Land.
We'd
Well,
love
that
to.
would be fun. Like I don't think it's not like a personal hate towards him, but I believe that like he describes the systems which are destructive, and I hate them. Well, like the things that he like he doesn't like propose it. Like that's the thing. Like he just talks about it. He like in part of Nick Land's ideas is that he almost like talks it into reality. Like he
Yeah,
reflects reality.
Hyperstition.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
so
memetics.
that's the thing. Yeah. So I don't want to accelerate. What do you call it? Not a hyperstitize.
Hyperstition.
Wait,
No,
scroll
how
up.
do you put it into
Scroll up.
verb?
Go. Let's see this. What's this? Explain.
Oh, do you know what this is?
No.
It's the horror movie. It's like the sci-fi creature thing that shows how like ideas from sci-fi have spread. So like this is like the earliest myths,
Mhm.
and then it goes through and then like shows how like all these ideas come into sci-fi novels and like myths and narratives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then on the
Why is it shaped like that?
I think it's just supposed to look like an organ. Like it's supposed to look
Yeah,
like
it's supposed to look like a monster.
Yeah, it's like an art piece.
Audio
Yeah.
listener L, watch us on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah. And the so which is like Experiment Lane is like in a way also like that. That's like it's not like a prediction, but it's an artistic expression of the word.
I tried watching it with Gokunaru and Saplo Studio.
I need to rewatch. I
It was
was
a
just
hard
like
watch.
thinking of yes, it's a very hard anime to watch. But I think it's like among all the animes that like are produced, like this one is like very meaningful, influential,
Mhm.
and also an art
So
piece.
why are people sending Serial Experiments Lane to Nick Land? Because I also got
Because it's like,
I also got this
oh
recommendation.
god, like yeah, everybody's like, oh my god, that's just like Nick Land, and people who are like, it's just the connection of like the vibe of it, like this like
he
technological.
actually tweeted, "Okay, I'll watch it."
Did he
Yeah.
watch it?
I don't know. He said he would watch it.
Yeah, I would be interested in his because like he didn't watch it, but like people who know both of those things, they would be like, oh my god, this two should be related.
Interesting.
Have you seen Evangelion?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, that's my favorite. I haven't seen Lane, but I've watched Evangelion like 10 times. That's,
Yeah,
that's my
like-
favorite piece of art.
Yeah, Evangelion is also interesting, but Lane is like a different. It's a different idea behind it.
Because I guess Evangelion is like the post-human singularity in like a very like abstract sense, and then Lane is like, oh, we were going inside the computer.
Yeah,
Right,
and it's
so it's
like
like
in
a
a
literal
painful
manifestation
way.
of
Yeah,
it,
but
yeah.
it's also like super painful. Lane is just like a drama.
Yeah.
Like so, it's very very dramatic.
I don't know. Don't spoil. I don't know how Lane ends, but
yeah,
I know
don't,
like
okay. Yeah,
Evangelion. It's like
Don't get too attached to Lane.
yeah. Let's.
That's all- that's all
yeah,
I'll
just
say.
saying it. Just saying it.
I've seen the first episode, but yeah, Evangelion. He chooses to be human at the end. He wants the suffering because the suffering is what makes you unique. It's what gives life meaning. Without the suffering, you're just in limbo.
Yeah.
You're just in the.
Yeah, that's not the moral of Experiment Lane. Yeah, you should watch it. You should show it in the studio.
But then he figures it out.
Make it a
his,
group experience.
all of his friends congratulate him. He figures out that like suffering is what makes you you, and that's like what the beauty of life is, like experiencing the ups and downs. And then all of his friends are like, "You got it," and like clap for him.
And then they all clap
Life
and
is
say
suffering.
congratulations.
Yeah, it's beautiful. How is accelerationism accelerating towards fascism? Give me the beats of that thought.
This is like a leftist, like kind of leftist position as well. So whenever social structures move and like positions of power, hierarchies, people, we organize in all different particular ways. So it requires for people to have something to fall onto. Like, like if we want to build like a different state, if we want to have any revolutionary movement, for example, any revolutionary movement should fall onto something. You can't just have nothing. So there should be like, of course, anti-authoritarian position is like horizontal organizations on the ground. So there should be horizontal organizations on the ground. But accelerationism kind of is just like a position that you can just accelerate without having any background. You can just like go somewhere.
I think that's why it's popular, is because it's easy to say like, I'm an accelerationist.
Yeah, and it's like in a part, it's like it's millennialism, I think is the word. Like you just like you just envision the end of the world and then there is a paradise in the end.
Yeah.
But that's not how reality works.
No.
Like there is no paradise in the end.
It's also easy to be an accelerationist when you're not doing anything to do it.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
are you building AI? Are you like in Silicon Valley? No, you're fucking doing
Yeah,
nothing.
but also are you building an alternative? No. You just hope that you're gonna accelerate
a
into
lot of
something
these new
good.
efficient accelerationists are playing around with a lot of AI tools like MC Hammer.
Yeah, but they're like it's still like it's very detached from the people.
Yeah, and I guess there's also. I mean, I feel like very
Look
few.
at this guy. MC Hammer is efficient accelerationist. MC Hammer, the actual MC Hammer, he's EAC now.
Oh, this is
EAC.
actual.
That's actually MC Hammer.
It's actually MC
and he's
Hammer.
actually EAC.
It is actually EAC. Wow, that's very impressive. But do they know about, because EAC is like specifically explicitly hyperstitional.
Uh-huh.
Like they use, like if you look into like the forums of like the people who are like building that ideology,
Yeah,
they're
but-
like this, like the half of this is about like spreading these, like mimetically spreading these ideas.
Yeah, but the problem is like they're not spreading any ideas except the idea of accelerationism. Like where do you go?
Well,
Like,
they-
like that's what I mean. It's like millennialism. You just like reach the end, like singularity or whatever. Like you can envision accelerationism as like reach towards singularity or reach towards like fall of capitalism or fall of state or whatever. It's like okay, it falls. What?
I think there's
what
only one
happens?
place to go.
Who washes the dishes?
The robots.
I think there's only.
Or the minorities.
Look, I see the end.
Minority robots.
This is why the true divide.
Robots separated by minorities in the developing
Fucking
world.
clankers. Did you see that thing I sent you?
Which one?
It was a guy who's like 2050 when my daughter brings home a robot as her first boyfriend. And it's like a drunk dad, like, I don't want any fucking clankers in my house. Get that fucking bucket of bolts out of here that is like doing like a racial tirade against a robot.
No, that would be me.
Yeah, that's like Greg's position.
Get that fake, he's like, that fake blood bucket of bolt, get him out of my fucking house.
Been a proud I've been pioneering this robophobia movement.
Robophobia?
Yeah.
That's a good word. Aesthetically.
Robophobia?
I like that.
I support that position.
Yeah.
But this is why I believe that the true post-political divide is primitivism versus like futurism, technologists, singularities, because like the natural endpoint, and again, this is pretty abstract because we're talking about like an imaginary future.
Mm-hmm.
The natural endpoint is either like post-human singularity, like we're all plugged into a computer and like the barriers between us dissolve, which is what the project of communication has been getting us closer and closer to since the advent of society. That's why like someone described, there's a really interesting article who talks about how the first communication technology was cave paintings. Because it brings two people closer together, right? It's like before there's language, before there's like anything, it's like I have this cave painting and now you understand me on a deeper level than you could have before the cave painting. And every piece of technology is actually just getting that barrier between two people like smaller and smaller and smaller, to the point now we have like phones, like I can look into people's like fucking subconscious constantly on Twitter. Like I just pull my phone out and like look into humanity all the time, right?
But is it enjoyable?
No.
Plugging into Twitter consciousness.
Because we're still like stinky animals, right? We still have it's the intellect versus the animalistic. So like the imagined like abstract future of technology is the post-human singularity, where like the barriers between us dissolve completely. Or the primitivist is that like, I guess,
community by the fire
through societal collapse, or through like you like left like LAC UBI. We just go into like, you wake up, you work like 20 hours a week on a farm and like hang out with your family, and things run themselves. Like the city runs itself.
Yeah, which I don't believe in that position either. I think it's like, well, it's good to dream, I guess.
I'm optimistic. I'm techno optimist 100%.
I'm techno pessimist. I think there's only one way that technology can go, and Nick Land makes this point. It can only go into a post-human sort of monstrosity nightmare. LAC would be nice, the UBI world, but as a pessimist, I think we'll try to get the LAC world. Yeah, it would. I want my UBI. We'll try to get the LAC world, but then we'll actually get the RAC, post-human techno-capital singularity, where there's nothing recognizably human left. And I'm a robot, and Brogan's a robot, and we go at each other.
Yelling at tankies.
Oh, it's just yelling forever on Twitter.
I just am Twitter yelling at tankies. I'm Twitter yelling at myself forever.
Yeah, you're a super consciousness yelling at other super consciousnesses forever into the void.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, because I don't know, like, as I sometimes like I look at it like also like from a position where, well, we understand, like, people dream of this like you're like a conscious uploading consciousness and like stuff like that, like basically like denying biological form. I don't necessarily think it's a good thing. Like I'm very opposed to that idea, because I don't really support that sharp divide between consciousness and body. Like I feel like they're more connected than people would like to think. Like like a human touch is like a thing that is like super valuable. Like, will we really still be people if like we can't experience?
I'll just download
human touch
right into my brain.
Feeling of human touch.
But okay, do you
joy, upload joy.
The woman who had the orgasm button, do you ever heard this story?
No.
They gave a woman like a button that just made her orgasm when she pressed it. It was like hooked up to her brain this couple years ago, and she would like press it repeatedly and like beg the scientists to take it away from her, and then when they try to take it away from her, she'd get like violent.
Well, it's like, I guess like in a point, like, because it's like it's the release of the endorphins and stuff, because like that's what happens to rats.
No, exactly.
Like if you plug like the sensor that just like irritates the like pleasure center in brain,
I had a video.
Rats just gonna they're gonna starve themselves.
No, exactly. I had a video about going goblin mode, slobbing out and going goblin mode. It was like a meme 2 years ago, but like just bed rotting. Like, what are you doing this weekend? It's like, I'm like just gonna like eat and vape and look at my phone in my bed for like 48 hours. So I had this whole video about that concept, and then at the end of the video, I was talking about how that's basically what technology will end up at, is that this point where like you can just get the neurochemical balance perfect where you feel fine forever.
Henry, can we get a goblin minion up?
That doesn't sound good.
Well, okay, so I guess it's like this is where, you know, the free will, the indomitable human spirit comes into play. Is like, do you believe that someone would get bored of having
Excellent.
perfect psychology?
There we go.
So like literally,
I don't think like I understand what you're saying. It's like a stasis. So like you're just like you're in a balance. But I don't
like you never yearn, you never want again. You
it's
just
like
feel
terrible.
fine.
It's terrible.
It's terrible, but like experience.
It's terrifying. Not it's terrible. It's terrifying.
I know, because
the
experience of that, the conscious experience of it wouldn't be. You wouldn't be like, oh no, I'm so bored. You'd be like, you'd be fine, and your brain could produce that feeling. I mean, that's why people get addicted to. You ever talk to someone who's like a heroin addict or like an opiate addict? That's why they do it. It's not like.
Yeah, it's just like you degrade yourself to just like pretty much just like stimulating brain.
No, exactly. And the fuck that's like really scared me about. I have a lot of friends who were like got really into heroin. And that's what they would say. They'd be like, I'd be like, what's it like? And they'd be like, oh, it's not like it's this like warm. It's not like it's a pleasurable feeling. It's just like you just feel fine for the first time ever. It's like you realize that you felt wrong your whole life and now you feel all right. And I'm like, that's terrifying, dude. That's a terrifying fucking drug.
Well, they kind of like say it that way, but it's like it kind of works in it. Like it simulates euphoria in a way. Like, so maybe they don't experience it as like, you know, islands of joy, but just like.
Zoom in. I'd be the guy with the ribs showing. That guy on the.
Is this an opium den?
Yeah, I'd be that guy.
Terrible.
Oh wait, that's a cool image. Can you look around in this image?
Yeah, look around. Zoom in.
Zoom in.
And then like pan.
How did we end in
360
here?
style.
Why are we here now?
He's eating rice.
He's eating rice.
Okay, go to the other guys.
Which one would you be, Anna?
I would just not do drugs. I would just
that was
not
happy.
do drugs.
Look at he's like at least got a big smile. He's like, yeah, I'm fucking eating rice and doing opium.
I'm in the pleasure machine 24/7 if it's out.
I would deny pleasure machine.
No, I'm going right in.
I wish I was that.
I'm never coming back.
I wish I was that skinny. He'd be the guy with his ribs.
No, I don't see much value in that.
Playing Hearthstone.
You'd never see me again. I'd be skin and bones.
Hearthstone, but whenever you win, you get like an IV drop of fentanyl.
Oh yeah.
Just, oh.
So
it's like you win. Oh.
It's already how Hearthstone works for me.
I believe in the future though. I think things are gonna be fine. We made it this far. I'm pragmatic.
Are you optimistic or pessimistic?
Yes, I'm optimistic, and I think people should be more optimistic. I think like part of it is just like, being optimist means that you also have to work on it. Like I believe in people's ability to direct the society where we not always where we want, but at least like we can set the direction.
Pull up Anna Fern on YouTube.
What else? What do I like? It's
open it up. Videos. Mm-hmm. Scroll down. No, down. Wait. Yeah, pause. Why Doomerism is a cure for apathy.
Yes.
Explain this one.
Yeah. So my position there is that I don't see Doomerism as like a position of constant stagnation, which like sometimes people just think of Doomerism as just, oh, it's like a person like crying in the corner. I don't see it that way. I'm kind of like Doomer, but like Doomer optimist. I think
optimist.
That's because like
is that
I think
the real horseshoe theory?
Maybe.
But
it's just the position that you see the suffering of like inflicted on like animals and on people and on environment, and that should be moving. Like that should not be you can cry about it, but the ultimate position of Doomerism is that you have to like get yourself together and try to do at least something, like not maybe just like, I mean, like I don't believe in like, you know, like completely like reversing climate change. I think we're going in. Like I truly believe that we're just like going in. By the time that people will start actually like taking action that needs to be taken, that will be like too late.
Yeah.
But there is still a lot of things that can be done. Like you can like save the species, you can preserve genetic materials, you can preserve seeds, you can adapt, you can build technology, you can build communities. So there's like a lot of work that like needs to be done. So somebody needs to like, you know, move their ass and start doing things.
And you think we can reverse it all?
Do you?
Yeah, I don't think the world's not gonna end.
Well, that's not what she's saying.
The world is not gonna end.
We'll figure it out.
It's just gonna change.
It's gonna change. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Of course it is.
So you're saying the same thing as her?
Yeah,
but in a
it's not
different
gonna
way.
end though. I'm saying have kids.
How many?
4. 15. One with.
How many women you want for that?
How many?
For me?
For 15.
Me personally?
Wait, what's your ideal conch
for 15
number?
children.
20.
20 conchs?
20 conchs, 15 children.
You'd forget about a few of those conchs.
Yeah, I don't have the executive function.
No, you need like 6.
Oh god.
6?
How are you gonna manage that?
I can manage it. There's 30 days in the week.
If I had 6 conks,
30 days
I'd
in the
start
month.
hating like 2 of them. And I'd just like fall in love with one of them and probably just like only,
Well, that's the long-term strategy.
yeah.
Mhm.
15 kids, 20 cocks. 20 cocks.
You cocks.
How many cocks?
20 cocks, 20 conks.
Conk is
20
short for
kids.
concubine. Again, this is an inside joke between me and Greg that now you're in on. Now it's your joke as well.
You're a monogamist.
Mm-hmm.
You've been married for how long now?
It's like close to 10 years.
Wow. How old are you?
I don't gonna say it on the pod.
I just assume everyone's like 27.
No.
It's a terrible question to ask a woman on a pod.
Is it?
Yes.
No.
Well, you don't look a day above. Never.
Yeah. No, it's just yeah. I know my husband for a very long time, like since high school, early high school.
Oh, that's sweet.
So high school sweetheart.
High school sweetheart
Mm.
in Calgary,
No, in Russia.
in Russia.
Mhm.
When did you move to Canada?
When or why?
When and why?
After 2012, but my family was moving.
Were you an adult?
I was like a late teens.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like in late teens. But I was also like, there was like a position where I was like thinking that I'm gonna stay because I was like, all my life was there. Like, my
Wait, and
husband and boyfriend, he was like in Russia.
where in Russia?
Like south.
South Russia.
I'm not gonna like blackmail myself here, but like
South,
south.
south middle, south like
like very south, like Sochi, close to there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, like so. I was studying. He was there. I was there. My parents were moving. I was thinking maybe I'll stay. And then like Crimea got annexed, and then there was like a failed revolution in Russia. And I said, off I go.
Oh, wait, that's close to Georgia.
Yes, it's very close to
Okay,
Georgia.
yeah.
There was war in Georgia there too, but
Yeah.
it was like slightly before that.
So you're a refugee.
Not really.
You're a refugee.
Not really. I came like with the PR status. It's a professional immigration.
Refugee. Black flag refugee.
Not really. I'm like refugee is like you run from something.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't run from anything. It was just like
Brisk walk.
disappointment.
Brisk walk.
Yeah. It was just like I got disappointed.
Okay.
I see like no future in Russia for like nothing good. I don't see anything good there in foreseeable future.
What does an optimistic anarchist future look like in Canada, and specifically in Alberta?
In Alberta, like independent communities, horizontal organization,
What if
agricultural,
you Wexited
family-based-
anarchist style?
Wexit anarchist
Yeah,
style.
like you just like you become like independent,
Like
and then
independent,
a bunch of anarchist communes all over.
Okay, like what do you call it? Like Rojava?
Like what?
That like oh god, what's the name of that? It's like in the Middle Eastern anarchist community.
Oh,
I may not be like
a
pronouncing it
kibbutz?
right. Yeah, yes, in that area.
Sure.
So you just like weaponize yourself and like guard the border.
Yeah, I mean, do you have an ideal you're working towards, or I know
Yes,
like,
yes. Well, like I mean, like my ideal is like I would support any organization that is like non-hierarchical in nature.
Mhm.
So I am a true believer in the thing called prefiguration. So basically, you try to build organizations which are horizontal
Mhm.
under existing systems.
Mhm.
You try to make them stable. So like that means both being financially stable and like people need to be committed and they need to be working there
Mhm.
towards like any goal, really, whatever. Like like it depends on community. So yeah, like that would be like this, maybe semi-agrarian
Right, but
society.
you're against, because like a lot of post-left anarchists, they think that the collapse is necessary to precipitate some of these changes.
I do not accept that position.
Interesting. So you're more reformist than revolutionary.
Well, it's like I believe okay. So I think that like revolutions don't happen in states. I think that revolutions happen in people's hearts.
This is very libertarian left of you.
So you start a revolution in people's hearts and then in their brains, and then state falls.
What do you think of that? You can throw a state down just by doing cultural change at the bottom level
Yeah, of course.
from each person.
Well, like the thing is, like you need to have like yes, like there is like I mean any revolutionary action eventually requires somebody to do something. But
Something you say.
something, yeah, somebody to do something.
I might just be that guy.
But it needs to have like a base. That's what I mean. Like that's why I hate accelerationism, because
Right.
there is like no base to fall onto,
Mhm.
or like because like the thing that you get is like you get like January 6th US.
Mm. What about we live in Jane's network state utopia? You're familiar with this.
Yes, I'm familiar with your idea.
And then you could have a little anarchist Wexit commune.
I'm going to a network state in 2 weeks, actually.
He's getting flown down to Honduras.
Interesting.
To go to a genuine Bitcoin, decentralized charter city network state.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see that.
I'll be there.
Yeah, but
I'm
like
gonna meet the CEO of the city.
Like of your city? You're gonna set your city?
The CEO of Prospera. I'm gonna meet the CEO of Prospera.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah. And also talk to Hondurans who like want the whole thing fucking burned down because they exist as well.
Yeah, like because like that's my problem with like Jane's position because like basically what she suggests is like neo-feudalism.
Sure, but you could have a little speck on the map where
you can
do
just
your
like
thing.
constantly live in like that's kind of how like anarchist societies exist now. Like you're in constant war with the outside world.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's like it's good for it's good for them. It's like interesting to see what they're doing. But I don't think it's like it's hard. Like it's hard. Like it's hard living in a group like Zapatia. Like they have to constantly like fight cartels and government. Like it's not a fun place to be yourself. Like they support the communities and it's good. But worldwide, like if we're building like my ideal Wexit, I don't want to like people to die in war there.
Fair. Look at the medieval human centipede.
What?
Medieval human centipede right behind you.
Feudalism?
Neo-feudalism.
Neo-feudalism.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's shadowboxing Jane. Now shadowbox JJ. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll be JJ.
do you want to like do like the what I took what I
Oh, I think the Canada should get annexed, eh?
I like your impression of
Do you
JJ.
like Funko Poops?
Well, like my
Funko Poops?
Funko Poops?
does he say it like that?
No, he does not.
No, like my problem with JJ is like that, like his view on like political activism and on like radical thought is drastically different from mine, and like from how I experience it and from like my life. And,
right, because so you've actually done activism out in the world. You've canvassed for parties and such. You've done change that way, and now you're doing YouTube videos. Yeah.
So I've did a lot of things. Well, I still do like community gardening too.
Right.
So like, but I did a lot of things, and like a lot of people that I ever cross in my activism, they do like so much. It's just like usually people are like committed and like just saying that like just like all those like left right people, they just don't understand how the government works. No, they understand it, they just don't like it.
Right.
It's like
I think a lot of them don't understand it.
Well, yeah, but like it's unrelated. Like my position is like it's not related to each other. I think like you can be doing activism without having any knowledge about state. Like whatever, I don't care.
The sort of shutdown is like, oh, you don't understand the system that you don't like, so you have to understand the system first. But then even if you do understand the system and then still don't like it, you'll still get dismissed.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like it's just like I don't believe that like.
To be fair, I don't understand the system and I don't like it.
Yeah, like I think it's a totally valid position.
I refuse to learn.
Like in a way, I don't just
me tearing down the system.
Well, like even if you know it, like also like being an immigrant, like when you become an immigrant, you have to actually pass the tests. Like like this is like an interesting experience as an anarchist because like I'm not a big fan of like nation states. I don't understand nation states, and one of the positions is that you actually whenever you're born into state, you don't have any agreement to like the rule of that state. You're just born here. Did you read Constitution? No.
Yeah.
Are you like?
I never consensually signed up.
Yeah, you never consensually signed up to be here. But like,
or to pay taxes.
I actually consensually signed up.
I see. So everyone should be an immigrant, except the climate refugees.
Well,
I mean that's the ideal with the network states is that you get to
you get to choose, but like
you get to choose
in a network state, like you can't really have a choice because like that's what I mean. Like you're just like building the feudal system. Like that's how it worked. There was like landings had kings, people were working, they were kind of like in debt to the king, so they never could move, and then everybody had their own currency and they would share like and fight with each other for like whose currency. And
the currency's Bitcoin.
God.
Henry's taking a citizen test behind us.
Okay.
Who was John Buchanan?
Oh, I don't remember anymore.
I would not pass the citizenship.
Yeah, like you have to study for this. You have to study for this. Like at some point I knew all that, but yeah. So like the thing is like it's just you have to do that.
Wait,
to,
why
like,
didn't the House of Commons recognize that the Quebecois were from a nation within
House of Commons
1986?
I want to review the answer later.
If I was writing this citizenship test, number 1, will you eat the goy slop? Number 2, will you work for Uber Eats? Number 3, will you bring your entire family here? And you got to say yes.
To everything.
Yes to all.
See, we're gonna liberate the Indians. We're gonna liberate the Indians with robots.
Oh God, how?
We saw that in Miami though. The Uber Eats drivers had been replaced with Filipino robots.
Yeah,
Filipino robots, like what do you mean? Operated by Filipino guy in the Filipino?
In the Philippines,
like in the Philippines?
There's
like
just
$1
robots
an
driving
hour.
on the sidewalks with like hot food in
it's
them.
all
I wanted to like tip them
It's
over.
terrible.
I
I
liked
hate
them. They
it.
had little hard eyes.
Dude, that's so fucked up. They put the hard eyes on it just so you would view it as like non-threatening. But it's the most threatening.
They had hard eyes. I liked it.
I didn't like
Oh,
it.
it's like it's
Pull
just so
up the
bad. It's
hard-eye
just so
robots in
sad. Like
Miami.
I absolutely hate it. That's why I do YouTube because I
Yeah,
hate all those things.
These things. I would tip
Those
that
are-
over and smash it
Right.
I
with
loved
my
them.
leg.
I loved them.
Just
I'd
put
knee
them
it.
in like a little, like under the
Wait,
the
go back-
pavement hole, so they can never get
back
out
to
of
the
the
Filipino
pavement hole.
guys.
Yeah.
Look, they got stacks of money.
It doesn't look like
they're
stacks of
they're
money.
making so much money. They have stacks of money on their desk.
Yeah, these are the people
because
operating
it's just
the
like in a way,
robots
it's just like it's
from
just
foreign
like
cultures.
what you call it. It's just like again, just imperial politics, and it's just
Mhm.
like it's you're outsourcing all those jobs without moving people. It's like
Yeah.
it's just like it's so like it hurts me on the inside.
So, considering we both agree that the climate crisis is only going to worsen, pushing millions and millions of people out into other countries, what do you think's going to happen?
What I think is going to happen?
Why do you think that's going to exacerbate this fascism situation?
Yes, that's that's my fear. That's like in part like why I started doing YouTube and why I research all that fascism, because I feel in my guts that it's like coming back and it terrifies me.
Yeah. I don't see anything else that could happen possibly.
Like that's my problem, is like that there is no alternative currently. Like a lot of like the leftist movements that don't have any teeth to fight that.
No.
There's nothing else to fall onto. And like if people don't like get their shit together and we don't like build a different system like that will be like competitive towards fascism, then people will
I'm just
going
going to join the winning team and get on the border wall with a machine gun. Bracka. Yeah.
I disagree. I think things are getting increasingly better.
Increasingly better for everybody.
For everybody.
So what do you think is a reasonable solution for, say, the current immigration crisis that most Western
Because you think that there is like an immigration problem.
Yeah, there's absolutely an immigration problem.
How are we going to solve it without doing this?
We just limit immigration to sustainable levels.
But the places that they're living are getting hotter and more unsustainable.
That's not why they're leaving, though. They're not leaving India because it's like a climate crisis. They're leaving India because it's easy to get to Canada. It's
called like, so how it works is like it's a multidimensional crisis. It's not happening on one level.
No,
like there is like many things involved in it. So like just in general, like I mean, being an immigrant, my position to it is that people generally like believe that people just like just are willing to like detach themselves from their families, from the place of their birth, and just like go somewhere with like literally nobody.
Yeah.
Like it's a painful process. Like immigration is not easy. Just like saying that people just come because it's easy. Like no. Like will you just like never see your parents for like 10, 15 years because it's easy to go to like a different country?
No, I know it's hard, but it's easier.
Here's minions suffering from the Indian caste system. Henry's killing it with the minion autism.
Oh god.
That's fucking awesome. God damn.
God, somebody should like find AI servers and just like set them on fire.
I think it's like, look, if you look at like the Mexican, the American illegal immigration crisis is being exacerbated by people coming from Africa and Southeast Asia being moved over by cartels, paying one price, and then going up through Mexico and getting to the U.S. that way because it's the easiest way to get to the U.S. It's not easy. Like it's not like an easy, expedient thing to do. It's just like the U.S. is a vastly better place to live than Nigeria. So you have like all these Nigerian immigrants coming over to Peru and then going from Peru. China's a big one now too, because the Chinese their visa only works in Peru. So the Chinese immigration to the Mexican wall or the Mexican border goes through Peru and then up through Central America, and it's all funded by cartels. But like it's a huge racket. It's easier to do than legal immigration, and there's also a whole system set up, a whole black market system set up for you to like be able to pay people to get you to the U.S. or to Canada. In Canada, it's happening through the student visas and diploma mills. I like immigration. I just think it needs to be sustainable. And the way to do it sustainably is like make sure the people coming over are like going to succeed when they get here. Because what's happening now with Indian immigration specifically is like they're not succeeding. They're not doing well. They're not increasing economic output.
It's your diploma mill.
And they have, there it is, yeah, Flair Management College. And they have miserable lives when they're here. Their lives suck. And there's like a suicide crisis amongst Indian immigrants in Canada because their lives are so bad when they get here.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's like a painful process.
It's extremely painful, but like they never get out of it. There's no way out. They just literally they get here 5 years later. They're alone. They're tens of thousands of dollars in debt. They're driving Uber Eats. There's no avenue for them to succeed in this country because we have unsustainable immigration.
Yeah, but how do you see like this? Like that's like what like I understand what Greg is saying because like. You are currently like in a. It is still better. Like currently, we are not in position of climate crisis yet.
Yeah.
Like we are like in some areas, some communities are moving there. So there is like some water shortage, some starvation, some hot water, like some hot bubbles, like on temperature. So it's like starts to appear, but we didn't see the full scope of it yet.
Yeah.
Heat leads to crime and war. The Syrian refugee crisis was precipitated by a once in 100-year drought.
Yeah, like that's the thing, because like eventually,
refugees.
Once the conditions start to degrade, then this is like large groups of people that need to go somewhere because they will just starve.
Anyway, we should do a bloomer versus doomer debate at some point, you and me. Like I'll actually do
that would
research because I'm just pulling this out of my ass.
Yeah. I mean, like immigration was sustainable in Canada for years. We had brought in between around 250 to 300,000 since the 1980s.
Yeah, but part of like immigration system in general is just like generation of like cheap labor. So you only like you just like have the border, you bring people that you want, you make them work for like cheaper jobs because that's how you get cheap labor. So it plays like a role in the state.
It does, but the labor is cheap, but they have the avenues to succeed. Is like you now have in America, Indians are the highest earners. If you look at earners by nationality, it's like India and Chinese are the two highest. Like white American is like fourth. So you have like, you come to this country, you have, you take a lower position, but you have avenues, you have vertical mobility.
Yeah, like there is like vertical mobility that they don't have. Like I agree with that.
Yeah,
like,
that's what we've sort of lost with in Canada and then with in America as well. There's like no vertical mobility with immigration.
I think in the US there is like still is. Oh, no, there is. I mean like,
Well, illegal immigrants, not legal.
Any position there is like vertical. There is like, trust me, there is like more vertical mobility here than there is like in a lot of other places in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is like very much still is. It's just like, I mean, like I understand like part of your argument that like sometimes people are promised, and I encounter it because like sometimes people ask me about like other my Russian friends would ask me how I immigrated, and they have this like idealistic perception of it that you can just like kind of come here and just like make money, which is not true.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it just like there is still like mobility, and like if people are willing to go over it, like if people are willing to pull through that painful period, they're still like pretty mobile. It's just like you're also like taking a position from like you're here in Toronto. You have a lot of people, a lot of immigration is here. But by the time like they go into like, like Alberta or like smaller towns and prairies, there are like jobs for those people. They work there.
Yeah.
It's like, but the thing is like what then becomes painful is the detachment. Like it's a completely different environment,
Yeah.
And it's kind of somewhat hostile. So
they're driving Uber Eats now.
Wait, are you generating them or are you just Googling?
Yeah, the Minion immigrants are driving Uber Eats now, and they're looking depressed.
Oh, good. And they're looking depressed. Yeah, look, they're also looking depressed.
He looks more like constipated.
Yeah, I don't think.
Look, well, I appreciate your like optimism on this. I wish I was that optimistic about it.
Why would there be a climate refugee crisis that like negatively impacts Canada? Wouldn't that happen in turn?
You're living like Canada is like will be one of the most livable.
Yeah, I know
places.
that. Yeah, I do know that. Specifically, like literally, this part of the world where Toronto will be one of the most livable places. But why are we assuming that like this idea like in 20 years there's going to be tens of millions of people?
Let's talk about fascism again.
Knocking at our doorstep, right? But wouldn't that migration would happen internally first?
Yes, depends.
Right?
So Alberta issues a lot of internal immigration.
Yeah.
Right? So our immigration problem is rich people coming from Toronto and Vancouver.
No, same with Nova Scotia. It was a
Yeah.
huge deal over COVID. It fucked up property prices. It was all
Yes.
Ontarians and British Columbians.
Yes, and the same is happening in Alberta currently. So a lot of our immigration problems are caused internally. But just in general, because I understand like a lot of so that's like a difference between like my position and a lot of other leftist positions is that people believe that there is just economic background to all those like like to fascism, to nationalism. There is a cultural aspect to it too, unfortunately.
Yeah, of course.
So if you look at Europe, for example, hard right parties are scoring really high, in the UK too, in the areas that suffer, that get like the influx of unsurprising and high immigration in the area. So
Yeah.
basically the towns which were predominantly just, old white guys, and then they get an influx of immigration due to either economic conditions, like for example, like there is a meat processing plant in the area, or like a agricultural business that needs workers. They will import workers, and the town culturally changes
Yeah.
very sharply. So unfortunately, people don't always deal with that in a good way, and the
Absolutely.
negative reaction to this is nationalism. It's
Yeah.
fascism.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I totally understand why there is a fascist revive in Europe. It makes perfect sense. I mean, I see it in. Look, the thing with immigration too is that you can't like import people from one area. I think that the issue with Indian immigration in Canada is that there's so many Indians that it's like, they're just forming their own community. They're not assimilating very well, and I think you have to assimilate a little bit, at least to the point where like you're learning the language. And that's not even happening in Canada. In Brampton, there's
But it
like
never kind of did. Like if you look at like old Chinatowns, were they assimilated? Like all these people built so many things in Canada. You have Chinatown in any large city.
but
They did not speak English.
I know, but they've assimilated better than what's happening now.
Not really. Like if you look back at that history, like people hated them at the time. It's just now we look at it and we say, oh, they are more assimilated. Like at that time, no. Like people hated them. Like people set Chinatowns on fire.
I agree. I know.
Brogan used to do some anarchism.
Anarchism, what? Like
Doing an anarchy,
He did an anarchy.
for what?
homeless people.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I support that. Like that's what I mean. Like I'm a big supporter of like if you do something good, I don't really care. Like
But what was your vibe check on the anarchist scene? You said there was like a few people that were really cool.
This is every radical scene. There's like a small group of people who are very dedicated, very put together, very well researched, educated,
Mhm.
really care about what they're doing, and then a fucking million losers behind them. Every single tankies, commies, anarchists, right wing,
Well, you
groypers,
gotta work with what you have.
every
okay?
single one of them. It's a fucking dude. There's this. I work with this guy who was like 6 a.m. every day at the soup kitchen. Like he lived and breathed anarchy and like homeless
Yeah.
outreach. And
Yes.
then in the group there was like just fucking 17-year-olds who were just the most fucked up, annoying, and like old dude. There was like for some reason anarchist groups always attract like old pedophiles. And this is a big theme I saw was just like 50-year-old, like 40-year-old men who still act like they're like 19-year-olds in the punk scene who just like prey
but
on
that's
high
like
school
they're
girls.
just like the guys who never grew up. Yeah, that's like
So what's
thing.
your vibe check on the anarchist scenes you've been a part of?
Depends. I've been involved in many different like organizations. Generally good. I mean, like it depends. I'm not like I think like Russian anarchist scene I liked a little bit more than Canadian. Because like people are the thing is like people it's like a different weight. Because here you can be an anarchist and it's not a risky position to take.
Yeah,
Like I can say again that it fucked Trudeau on a podcast and nothing is gonna happen to me.
that's great. Best country in the world.
Yeah, but the that's the thing. Like, it's not necessarily the case there. So like people are far more committed. Like it's like mostly the guys, like you say, like the ones that are like really really committed to what they're doing, or at least they're trying.
Yeah.
In Canada, it's like here and there. I feel like people sometimes. Well, that's like my problem with like current state of like a lot of leftist movements is that people form like a particular identity. Like so you get your online identity, your online political belief. You are like super specific something anarchist, like
Nazbol.
Nazbol,
Nazbol.
Anarcho-Nazbol.
Nazbol, anarcho-monarchist. Yeah, and then you just like come to the movement to mostly make friends.
Yeah.
So people come to the movements to find community and to find friends, which sometimes works.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you can do that. I absolutely support that. Like, I'm a big, like, in that case, my suggestion would be just for people who are like watching the pod. Like this, Henry has to cut
Camera
it.
there, camera over there.
Yeah, like here, do activism. Okay. And then you choose what you want. So you choose not based on your political affiliation. You choose based on the action that inspires you. So soup kitchen, do you think we should be feeding homeless people? Go work in a soup kitchen. Do you think we should be like supporting, I don't know, like animals and supporting like, like animal liberation? Do that. Like for me, that's like how I came to gardening, because I like it. Like I can do that. I can go on for days. I can put my time in there. I'm always committed. I'm always ready to do that. So go like this, and then you find friends. Don't just like go to the movement that identifies as like anarcho-monarchist and then just think that that movement is going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. They're going to like hang out, get drunk, and do nothing.
Now, Canada is like a university campus, like one giant university campus. The stakes are so low. Your life is not at risk for whatever you believe or whatever you say. Like the stakes aren't that high, and it's so easy to just be like aesthetically radical because you think it's kind of like it's novel.
Yeah, like that's my problem with it. Is like you choose like a particular identity, which is like super radical.
Yeah.
Versus, and then like these people don't really do like they don't. I mean, like they sometimes they stick, but it's hard to stick with just identity and without any desire for a particular action.
No, the identity thing is a big thing here. I was in Athens and I hung out with like some anarchists in Athens, and I got that like old school anarchy. Like they're stateless. They don't give a fuck about like race. They don't give a fuck about like identity politics. It's like ideological anarchists, and they're all super committed.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that. That does not happen in Canada. There's a few of them in Canada, but Canada it's a lot more like liberal arts students who like the aesthetics of hating the government and use a lot of like coded woke language and don't actually believe in anything.
Yeah, and like that's like I mean I have a problem with that too, because like that's why for me, like again, like in Alberta, I actually don't have much of a problem because a lot of conservatives would do things.
Yeah.
Like like they might have like opinions which I severely disagree with, but they do things, right?
Yeah.
So like, and it's just it feels good to be like achieving things.
Well, that's a good conclusion, which is basically if you're interested in doing something, you should follow the action that inspires you, rather than getting too hung up on the ideological divides. And that's how we can make anti-centrism happen, so that my ideology succeeds based off this inverse lack of ideology.
But what do we do about Maple MAGA?
The whole like we're importing American culture thing. My thoughts is that we all exist online, and online has no nation. It's just a place without space or time. So, of course, we're all going to just start adopting all the same broad picture ideological beliefs. And we should become American anyway. That's what JJ taught me. So,
Maple MAGA?
You accepting JJ's position?
Yeah.
You want to be like a MAGA American?
I'll just be we'll rake us up. We'll figure it out later.
Rake the leaves.
Rake up the leaves.
You ever heard that term?
No.
Dave the Rake. I introduced that to JJ. He really liked it.
It's a 4chan thing, right?
Yeah.
What?
Dave the Rake is when America rakes in the Canadians because we're Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rake the leaves.
Rake the leaves. Oh, yeah, that's an interesting concept. Yeah, not a big fan of that position of JJ either.
Rake the leaves. I'm
like what he says, like he disagrees with like left's position in Canada being anti-American. Yeah.
Yeah. He views that the left wing is a nationalist.
Well, there is like Canadian nationalism is left wing, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and then but then also that the left wingers like Europe more and the right wingers like America more, and so you have this paradox where like the right wingers are sometimes like they like America more than Canada, but your right winger is supposed to be nationalistic and patriotic. So
like that's the thing. Like that's what happens exactly like with MAGA conservatism, right? Because like if you go to hard right like affiliations in Alberta, they are using like American flags, and like Trump is like a big figure, like I just have like a mechanic who like I buy parts of him for the car sometimes, and he's just he has that big poster there which is like make America great again. So he is just like all his shop is just a little piece of America.
I mean, Canadians see themselves as just like a satellite of America. Like whatever happens there is going to happen here. I think most people.
In a way, it's unavoidable. So I understand that position of JJ that it's like you pollinate
especially maybe not social stuff. Like I don't think if America repeals abortion, I don't see Canada doing that. I don't see Canada getting more gun rights, but I suppose like with wars, stuff like that. Or
Yeah, like, you support the
big
existing
civil
position.
conflict. Yeah, we'll end up
Yeah,
basically.
we're just sending bombs where US is sending bombs, right?
Exactly. But Canada is very politically schizophrenic. Like Toronto and Montreal are almost like European cities. Like they're more European than American. Nova Scotia is a kind of a weird, I don't know, it's like a nothing place, doesn't matter. And then Calgary, Edmonton, it's a very, I'd say it's more culturally schizophrenic than the US is. Because the US has a national identity that although the places are different, like California's different from Texas, different from Florida, different from like Vermont, there's a national identity that can be kind of rallied under. Canada has a weaker national identity and therefore it's like very subject to where you are in the country.
I feel like Canada has like a pretty strong provincial identity though.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I mean. Like very strong provincial identity. Like Ontario, Quebec's like a socialist. Quebec just goes more and more socialist. Quebec goes socialist and they go like civic nationalist. It's a really weird, like Quebec is like our fucking Poland. Quebec just gets like so civic. It's really interesting.
Like Poland, but like without religious aspect of it.
Yeah, it's like a secular Poland.
Secular Poland.
It's so there's nothing like that in the U.S. though. I can't see. Canada's not gonna last much longer. We're done.
We're done. It's over.
Yeah, Canada's cooked.
And Quebec's not even a province anymore. It's a nation.
Nation of Islam.
Nation of Quebec.
Nation of Quebec. Yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to think like Yakub.
Oh, you should. You know
accent.
what? You should do the JJ podcast again and ask him about Quebec only podcast.
Yeah, just
to showcase the more radical side of.
So what do you think about Quebec? I just keep asking over and over again.
I think he'd lose his mind. What was I gonna say? Oh, before I want to end this podcast with okay. So I have this theory.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Yakub, Yakub, as we all know, is the father of the white race.
Oh, you want to end on racism too? Good. We
Yeah.
started on
So,
racism. We'll
end
ending
on
on
racism. So it's just racial awareness. It's just this is just truth. True facts.
Consciousness.
Racial consciousness. So this guy made the white race, and the white race went beyond the ice wall.
Mhm.
And as we all know, the Hyperboreans came from beyond the ice wall and to populate and make the the master race, the Slavs. Well, welcome back to the Slav cast, by the way. So you explain to me these Lemurians, Atlanteans. This is all part of CCRU lore, which I'm not familiar with. Lemurians, Atlanteans, Hyperboreans, and what's the fourth one? Oh yeah, Yakubians. Yeah.
I don't know. Like it depends because I'm like I know that not from like CCR. I don't know what CCRU did with that. I will not lie.
They talked about the Lemurian time war. I don't know what that is.
Well, they did like a lot of like CCRU. Like I know, like I just started researching it, like in a way because I'm going from. So they are at the end, like they are building on the position of like neo-nationalism and far right that exists post World War II. So we're talking like Riding the Tiger, or Savitri Devi, and what's his other name? I forgot. I'm really bad with names. Evola. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Evola, like this, like esoteric fascism is becoming part of like the CCRU studies and their work. But they like also build on it like in a weird perspective versus what I know is like coming from like an actual hard right, from like Evola, from the belief that like how it works is like there is actually like when people like this is like very far right stuff. Like we're just talking currently like about like hard right fascism. Like people who like believe that like people should not like have like marry people of different races.
What's their esoteric beliefs?
Basic idea there is that there were superior races.
Yeah.
Right. So and then it's a downfall. Like it's a belief in a golden age in a way that there was, which anarcho-primitivists are sometimes like that too, by the way. But they believe that at some point in time there was this paradise where everybody was like super healthy, straightened up person, where everything was perfect, and they were like culturally cohesive.
Is this Hyperborea?
This is polar.
Polar.
So we're the polar race.
Polar race.
We'll start with polar race.
You guys being Slavs.
Well, this is like, I mean, no. So like, we'll start with polar race.
All of humanity?
Yes.
Okay.
So all of humanity is like starting with like polar
You're really
race.
taken in by this ice wall map.
Yeah, maps really suck me in.
Yeah. So
this is an objectively cool
but
map.
this is like there's like also a lot of esoteric meaning to the concept of pole.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the point of
Wait, so the Polish people are the master race. Got it. Okay.
Polish, like
Yeah.
Polish.
Polar Polish.
Yeah. So and then it's a hard right belief is that the races degrade from there on. So when we start talking about Atlantis and Lemuria, those are already like there's like Hyperborean. Before that, like this is where the Slavs come from, like the true real Slavs, whatever that means,
Okay.
whomever those people
They came
are.
from beyond the ice wall, by the way.
Yeah, like the ice wall, and then Yakub is like a different
Yeah, but
unrelated theory.
I'm making a
just
theory of
like-
everything here.
Yeah,
So
you're-
Yakub
yeah.
fathered the white race. They went beyond the ice wall, became white people, and then came back from beyond the ice
Yeah,
wall,
well,
and
just
then
being,
we're the
like,
Slavic
wacky.
master race. No,
Yeah,
that's all.
yeah.
This is all true. Continue. So who are the Lemurians?
So there is like just like a belief that like basically like racists need to explain somehow that like non-white people exist, but in a way that also like is cohesive with their belief. So they just come up with like a superior race for other people too.
Okay.
So in a way they claim like this is why you can't have race mixing.
In
their belief
So
system.
we've got Atlantis over here on the left, on the west, and then on
Yeah.
the east we have Lemuria. So
Yeah.
the non-whites came from Lemuria.
Yes, and then you have like the little like Asian settling and white settling. So yeah, so there is like it gets like a little wacky because there is like no stable system of belief to like what these people are believing. But the basic jinx of it is that there is like several races that give the birth to however many races these people think, which is also like a shaky concept because like race doesn't really exist. You just have to define it.
I'm getting too much incredulity from you. We need to believe this wholeheartedly.
Oh God.
Okay, I think I get it. I mostly get it. So wait, hold on. Lemuria, the non-white lost continent. Atlantis is that the white?
Yeah, that's the white lost.
White lost continent.
Mm.
Where are the Aryans from? Are they from Atlantis?
So yeah, that's where it gets kind of like all wacky. Like people will believe that either it's from Atlantis or they will think that it's from Hyperboreans as well.
Okay, so either Atlantis or Hyperboreans, depending on if you're Germanic white or if you're Slavic white.
Yeah, like pretty
Okay.
much like it just like splits. But they like this is why they claim that you can't have race mixing because a lot of hard right like people who are going like deep far right. They will just believe that basically it's different group, like it's completely different groups. They believe in races being like completely different sort of people, and they all just need to like stick to each other and form those like higher societies where we'll adhere by traditional values,
Okay, I've learned enough about this. I know where I am. I'm Lemurian. What are you?
I'm Atlantean.
Okay. And that's the real horseshoe theory. Wait. Before we kill her,
What?
is there anything else we should bring up before we kill you?
Do you want anything else?
I have a meeting with the CEO of Prospera.
Oh, okay. And that's the real horse.
Wait. Hyperbore, you're Lemurian.
I'm Lemurian.
Okay, I started the whole thing again.
Okay, I figured it out. I don't feel them as much this time. I figured out that I'm Lemurian, which is the non-white races. What are you, Brogan?
I'm Atlantean, the industrious white race.
The industrial. Well, we're opposites,
and that's
but we're still here together.
And
that's
that's
the
the
real
real
horseshoe theory. Thanks for coming.